What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another FPL preview. This time for Game Week 16. Again, they're coming thick and fast. Game Week 15 is only just finished. We're going to go through that now. It was a bit of a shocker, if I'm honest, for me. I'll come to my score in a minute. Just to let you know, I'm recording this on Wednesday night, straight after the Scoutcast. It's already gone 11, so hopefully it'll be mostly coherent. It'll probably be a long one, just given how badly the game week went for people. But yeah, I'm recording it now just to make sure I can get it out on Thursday, because obviously the next game week deadline is Saturday. So a quick turnaround, but from then we'll be almost back to normal for a few weeks. So taking a look at my game week, I've got 46 points now. It could have been a lot worse. I only got 4 points the previous night. I think I was pretty frustrated the previous night, because not only did the players I had playing not do anything, but they also, everyone else seemed to have players doing really well. Bournemouth players did well. Fabianski got the penalty save, which was really nice. It was a frustrating watch. And then seeing the team sheets tonight on Wednesday night was no better, because Salah was benched. Obviously, ARNAUTOVIC went off injured yesterday. Sterling didn't play yesterday either. And Sané, who obviously was a Man City player that I wanted, just like a lot of people did well as well. And got his goal, which was really nicely taken. So it was a really tough game week. Obviously, the screenshot I've got here is because it's not updated fully, but thanks to the live rank FPL tool, I know that my overall rank is going to be around 19k. That's down from 11k, so it was really, like I say, really poor week. 46 points overall. I will get Jimenez and Doherty off the bench, so thanks to both of them. Interesting fact, which I mentioned on the Scoutcast, Jimenez now has more points in the last 5 game weeks than Wilson. Now, obviously, you can go back a bit further and Wilson outscores him, but Jimenez, for a cheaper price, is doing pretty well. And I have said a few times on here that when I watch him play, I think he does all right. Now, I haven't seen the Chelsea game. I've not seen most of tonight's matches because there's just so much going on. But yeah, I'm really happy with him, and we're going to talk about him a bit more when it comes to ARNAUTOVIC. He is out till 2019. It's only a few weeks away, but at the same time, there's a lot of game weeks to fit in between now and then, so he's definitely going to have to go. Talk about that soon. That's super frustrating because West Ham's fixtures are really good. Obviously, he has been the talisman, although Anderson's been playing pretty well recently. But yeah, it's annoying to have to make that transfer because I didn't want to make any transfers this week. That's all going to have to change. Martial got the goal, which was really nice. I held on to him. I decided not to take a hit this week just because I knew there would be chaos and I knew our benches would be needed. So I just did Aguero to Aubameyang. Now, I spoke on the preview why I might go for that. I decided against Kane because it would have been for a hit. And I just think Aubameyang could be a better captain option in Game Week 16. And Kane, not so much. But obviously, he did so well against Southampton already, 12 points. Assist, goal, and not clean sheet. 3 bonus points, which was really frustrating because obviously his owner's already on that now. He's going to go up in price, and I've not got him. And I think I'm going to stick with that, but again, I'll talk about that in a minute. Richarlison with a goal, which was nice. Alonso, been pretty rubbish recently. Maybe it's time for him to go. Keane just got rotated or rested out of nowhere. I don't think he's injured. A bit of a strange one. Centre-backs don't tend to get rested, but hopefully he comes back in next week because they got another good fixture. And Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't start, but came on because Gomez went off injured. So, yeah, Jimenez, hero. I've been loving the points he's been getting for me. Him and Doherty have just been insane. Obviously, Doherty not getting many clean sheets recently, but still got the attack and return. So a bit of luck on the bench there. And Salah didn't start. That was a bit weird for me because I thought maybe he'd get a bench in the Bournemouth game because it's closer to the must-win Champions League game for them. But I suppose in hindsight, they probably felt that the Burnley game was one that they could win without him, and then maybe Bournemouth obviously playing much better this year. That's the tougher fixture, so the one to get him for. But that's hindsight now. I didn't think he was going to be benched, so I captained him. Lucky that he came on and got the assist because it would have been a nightmare. If he hadn't come on, I would have had no captain. So the assist felt huge at the end. So it halted my rank for a little bit. At one point tonight, I was going down to 30k, but ended up at 19k. But enough of Game Week 15. It was rubbish. Let's move on to Game Week 16. So quite a lot to talk about here. I think as the game weeks go so fast at this point of the season, people have got big decisions to make and not much time. And obviously rotation doesn't help. You get headaches with that. And players get injured and stuff, so you've got to make decisions quick. So like I said just a minute ago, I've only just started recording this after the game week's finished, so I'm not completely sure on what I'm going to do for the My Plan sections, but I've got some ideas, so I'll run through them and I'll run through the other talking points that people tweeted me, one of which was, is it worth playing FPL due to the stress and stuff? And I will say, like I said, I got pretty frustrated yesterday. And once I saw that Salah was benched, I just didn't really want to have a look at anything FPL-wise. And that's not usually how I react. So I think the best thing to do is just forget about it. It was a bad week. We move on. Chances are if your players got rotated this week, they won't next week. It doesn't necessarily help with the likes of Sterling. Obviously, he's missed the Watford match to then play Chelsea, so could get some points there, but you would have expected the Watford game to be more, a better fixture for points. So yeah, is it worth playing FPL? Definitely. I mean, obviously I'm talking to a bunch of people watching an FPL video, so I already know the answer to that, but you just got to try and forget about this week. If your rival did really well, fair play to them. Let's move on. There's still plenty of weeks to catch up. 22, in fact, after game week 16, so we're good to go. So yeah, looking at kind of my team and, like I said, stuff that people tweeted me, Ryan's fixtures, Brighton's fixtures are about to turn. They're not great. I knew this was going to happen around this time, so I feel like I need to get rid of him soon. Not only that, is I've got Button as the backup, and Ryan's going to go to, he's going to be off to play, I think it's the Asia Cup. I could be wrong there. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but he's going to be missing in January, and Button's not been on the bench, so Steele now looks like the backup goalkeeper. So I've got a bit of a problem there. So I need to get rid of him soon. The problem is I've got other fires to put out with ARNAUTOVIC injured. Martial went off. Now originally people were saying it was a hamstring injury, but a few tweets coming out saying it's not as bad as first feared, and it was just tightness. So hopefully he'll play that Fulham game. If I've missed the Southampton game and the Fulham one and all I got was Arsenal, I know we got a goal, but still that'll be really frustrating. But if the news is good on him, and Mourinho says that he can play or he's fit to play, bearing in mind that he has had a bit of a niggle recently, so that's one thing to consider. But hopefully he'll play and then I don't have to worry about that, so it's just ARNAUTOVIC. But Ryan needs to be sorted soon. And goalkeeper-wise, I'm looking at Fabianski. Not really a knee-jerk based on the penalty, just West Ham's fixtures are amazing. We're going to talk about that soon with ARNAUTOVIC replacements. Or Leno for a top 6 goalkeeper for a pretty good price. But Arsenal not really keeping clean sheets. Their fixtures turn soon. Or this week they turn with Huddersfield. So maybe Leno could be a good pick from now. But Fabianski currently is the one I'm looking at. Just quickly touch on Gomez out, Trent in. So Trent didn't start. Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't start the game against Burnley, but he did come on before 30 minutes. Didn't get the clean sheet, unfortunately. But Gomez went off on a stretcher, I believe. And the kind of talk from Klopp and people at the club is that the injury is going to be pretty bad. Now, they haven't had it scanned. They don't know exactly. It's his ankle. But it sounds like it's going to be pretty bad. So Trent now looks like a good option. Now, I will say us Trent owners have got pretty lucky in recent weeks to get the amount of points we have versus Robertson. But now if you're looking at maybe taking some money out of your defence, but you want to stick on that Liverpool defence because it's been so good, even though fixtures are pretty mixed after game week 17, but you could look at downgrading Robertson to Trent Alexander-Arnold, because if Gomez is out, then he's likely to start the majority of games with Lovren coming in at centre-back. They don't really have too many other options to play in that right-back spot. Klein, potentially, I don't even know if he's fit. He's hardly had a sniff this season. So Trent looks pretty good for me now. I had him at 5.2, he went down to 5, now he's back up to, I think, to 5.3. So he could be a really nice option going forward. So that's one thing to consider. Getting on to the more meaty stuff, ARNAUTOVIC replacements. Like I said, he's out until the new year, so we've got to get rid of him. I've got a bunch of replacements written down. Now this depends how much money you've got, and it's going to kind of tie in with the next point about double premium forwards. So just to quickly run through the options, I don't want to go into too much detail on all of them because there are so many around that price point. So the obvious ones to pick out if you've not already got them are Jimenez and Wilson. Now both their fixtures are kind of mixed. I think off the top of my head Wilson's a little bit tougher. But it's hard to deny that Bournemouth have been excellent. He's the second highest forward points-wise behind Aubameyang by 1 point. So Wilson looks like the obvious pick. I still do have I have some concerns around him, and I know that people are going to give me a load of comments saying you're an idiot. He's the highest point scorer. It doesn't look, he's in form basically, and we'll hear about form over fixtures. But their fixtures aren't great. Liverpool at home is the next game, and I'm already pretty annoyed that I had to bring in Aubameyang against Man United. Now I'm having to bring in potentially Wilson against Liverpool. Then it's Wolves away and Brighton at home, so they're okay. But then it's Spurs away and Man United away. So in the next 5 fixtures, there's 3 top 6 teams. And yes, you could say that Man United haven't been on form this year. Liverpool will have one eye on the Champions League and stuff, but there's still going to be tough fixtures. He's had 6 goal attempts, and all 6 of those were inside the box in the last four game weeks, and 3 on target. So to compare that to Jimenez, he's had 9 in the box with 3 more and 13 goal attempts altogether. So he's shooting a bit more. Still only had 3 on target though, but he could be maybe a potentially better option than Wilson for a little bit less money, just because of the fixtures Wilson's got coming up. Hernandez for West Ham's had more shots in the box, just by 1, and Mitrovic has had 9 altogether, so he's had 3 more than Wilson. So there are players kind of getting into the box and shooting a bit more, and you could turn around and say, well, Wilson's had a couple of hard fixtures, and he has, but that's kind of my point. He's got tough fixtures coming up as well. So it's hard to argue. He's 6.9 million now, so he's almost at Arnautovic's price. It's hard to argue against him because his ownership's really high as well. So if he does well, and your replacement or the alternative that you've got doesn't do well, then that's going to hurt. So I think he's like 40% owned or something like that, probably even higher in the top 10k. So Wilson's probably the obvious one. Jimenez, I think, just been a point scorer for me. May get replaced in January. Wolves may look to bring in a striker because they've not really got a backup for him, who could come in and take his place, or at least provide competition, which could be a pain. But the January transfer window is still a few game weeks away, like 6 or 7 game weeks away. So I mean, look good. Just to mention some other people, Perez and Hernandez at West Ham. West Ham's fixtures are really good, so I am tempted to go there. They're only 6.2 million. I'd probably go for Hernandez. He's more likely to play as the central striker. I've just got this feeling in the back of my mind that going for the second choice striker when the main one is out is not always the best idea. I've done it before. I remember like Remy at Chelsea. I've gone for Andy Carroll as well at West Ham before when he looked like he was going to play. And I'm not saying that Perez and Hernandez are going to be bad or anything. I think the fixtures are there to get points, but I think Anderson's probably the one to go for currently at West Ham if you're going to go for one. And then you've got Mitrovic. He's on 4 yellow cards. That will put a lot of people off, but I remember when Costa was on 4 yellow cards near Christmas and I didn't get him in, and he scored points like nearly every game week, and really hurt me. So I wouldn't necessarily let you let that put you off too much. But again, he's playing Man United this week, so like Wilson, he's got a tough fixture this week, so it's hard to bring him in. And then Zaha and Rondon are a bit of a punt, but Zaha's fixtures again are pretty mixed over the next 4 or 5 game weeks and hasn't really been performing, although Palace have had a pretty tough run recently. So you could look at them as well. The other talking point is obviously, do you upgrade to double premium forward? So a lot of people have got either Aubameyang or Kane if they got rid of Aguero last week. I personally am not convinced by the double premium setup. I think a lot of people have been saying that Salah is too expensive at 12.9 or 13 million, whatever he is at the moment. Whereas Kane's like 12.4 or 12.3, so he's not that much lower in price, and it takes up a big chunk of your budget. So it depends what your thought process is for which players you want to get in. Aubameyang and Kane is really good captaincy rotation, but if you're looking at that, then it means you're not looking at Man City players who, they score 3 or 4 goals a game. You could miss out there. Sterling was benched, yes, but he's probably going to play the majority now up until Christmas, and he's returning the highest points per match out of all players in the league, and I just don't see why that won't continue in that Man City team. So for me, my priority really after the Chelsea game is to get Sané in, and if I get Kane as well as Aubameyang out front, that just can't happen without a lot of shuffling around that I just don't want to do, and it would take even more money out of my defence, which isn't necessarily something I want to do. So personally, I'm not going to go for that setup. I think it puts Kane, it just takes up such a chunk of budget. And yes, if you're going to captain him, that's fine. But then you've got Aubameyang at 11 million, who you're not probably looking at captaining. And I just think Sterling is probably a better option, and even Sané. So for me, double premium forwards isn't something I want to do. But let me know below what your thoughts are on that. I know a lot of people have gone for that. But for me, the value is still in midfield. And kind of coming on to Hazard and Alonso, that's one of the reasons I want to talk about double premium forwards, is because I'm actually looking at bringing Hazard back potentially. Just to kind of briefly go through my plans, if I keep Arnautovic to a striker that's around the same price, then after the Fulham game, I could do Salah and Martial out for Sané and Hazard and still have a little bit, we're talking like 0.4, 0.5 left in the bank. So Chelsea's fixtures are actually pretty good after the Man City game. I feel like people are not noticing that because they're so concentrated on Spurs and Arsenal's fixture swing and Man City players. So some people have just taken Hazard out. I have for Sterling. And some people are looking at taking him out this week because it's a tough game. But for me, the fixtures are pretty good. He's mostly going to be nailed on penalties. Did look quite good against Fulham. Maybe, I wouldn't say it was a rush to take him out. He hadn't been on form, and I wasn't completely sure he was going to start against Fulham. And I wanted Sterling in, basically, and I wanted to keep Salah for the captaincy this week, which in hindsight was not a good idea. But I'm looking at getting him back. And then with Alonso, people are saying he's been poor recently, and maybe performances-wise, but he's still got a good few returns in the last 5 or 6 game weeks. I think he's maybe got 4 returns. And again, he's obviously got the same fixtures as Salah. So I can see why people are looking to take him out, because they want to reduce the money in defence and put it up front. And, you know, with the likes of Sterling, Sané, Aubameyang, Kane, I can see why they're doing that. But I'm probably going to stick with him for now. And that's kind of personal preference, because it would take a lot of reshuffling to use his funds. And I've got Salah to bail me out a bit with money. So for me, Hazard and Alonso should probably stay, even though the Man City game is tough. Especially if we've already got a Man City midfielder. And I think Alonso can stay just because he's got returns recently, and there's no reason for that to not happen in the future with the good fixtures. And I'm not sure Sarri is going to drop him. You know, there was talk of him maybe getting rotated this week because he had a bit of a back problem that flared up, but he still played. So I'm pretty confident he's going to start the majority of matches. So yeah, just going on to my plans then. This is the team as I've got it set up now. I'm actually benching Alonso currently. Not sure if that will stick, but you can't imagine Man City not scoring. So then you're relying on an attacking return, whereas I think potentially my defence could get a couple of clean sheets. Wan-Bissaka, I'm not completely sure about, so maybe I should switch them. I might do that. So I'm hoping that Martial's fit. I want to play him against Fulham. Captaincy is currently on Aubameyang. I think I have to go for it. I've got a little concern that he's not going to start because he's played 180 minutes over the last 2 games. Lacazette's only played 60, albeit he has just come back from injury. But if he's not got a plan to play Aubameyang in the Europa League, then he'll have an 8-day break between this game and the next one. So hopefully he'll play against Huddersfield. And I feel like I've got to captain him because I made that decision to get him in for captaincy reasons, because I was going to captain Salah this week, so I didn't need Kane, and then Aubameyang's got the better fixture the next week. So I'm probably going to stick with captain on him. And to be honest, there's not really many standouts. Just to mention Salah, I suppose, he's just had his rest, so you'd expect him to play like kind of 70, 80, 90 minutes in this game. So he could be a captaincy option. Bournemouth look good this year, yes, but they are conceding a good few goals over the last few game weeks. So Salah could be a potential captain option. Not going to go Sterling, even though Man City will probably get something against Chelsea. Richarlison against former club Watford. He's currently my vice captain. I don't think I'll captain him. So I'm going to go for Aubameyang. My plans are I'm probably going to take Arnautovic out. Well, I'm definitely going to take Arnautovic out. Not entirely sure where to go with it because I don't really want to take any of my midfielders out. There's nothing to really upgrade. One thing I've considered is going Arnautovic to success and him becoming my bench fodder, and then upgrading Diangana to Anderson, and then going 5 in midfield. That's something I'm definitely going to consider for a -4. And it kind of keeps me in the same structure, and I can still do the Salah and Martial to Hazard and Sané. So that will give me a midfield of Sterling, Hazard, Sané, decent, Richarlison and Anderson. And then Anderson can kind of flip around to whatever, or even Richarlison, because his Everton's fixtures, they have a couple of tough ones coming up after Watford, I think. So that position can then be flopped about or flipped about even to whoever's maybe in form around that price. Even Maddison has scored twice in the last 2 games. So even he could be one to look at, although Leicester's fixtures are not great. So yeah, that's my plans. Aubameyang captain. I'm probably going to switch Arnautovic to either a very similar priced forward like Wilson or Mitrovic, maybe a punt on Hernandez, but probably not. And then or switch to 3-5-2 and just get rid of him, but that would be for a hit. And then I'm taking a hit next week to get rid of Salah, who's got Man United at home. So I'm not sure I'll go for that, but we'll see. Either 3-5-2 or Arnautovic straight to another striker. And then the other thing I suppose to consider this week is playing Doherty, and given his attacking returns, I might put him in. You know, I could almost thinking about it now while I'm on the fly. So apologies, this is, like I said, not coherent at all. I could even play Doherty and not switch out Arnautovic this week, bearing in mind that Wilson and Mitrovic have got top 6 teams this week, and just play 4-4-2. That is another option I've got. So originally I was looking at taking a -4 or -8 when I was seeing the injuries, but actually looking at it now, I can maybe make no transfer and reassess next week, because I may even look at like a Spurs midfielder like Son as well, instead of Hazard maybe. So I'll see what I can do. Some people are looking at Aubameyang, Lacazette. Not for me. I don't want to double up. Leave it like that. Aubameyang captain. Hopefully you've enjoyed that video. Again, apologies, it's kind of on the fly. I've had to record it late tonight so I can get it out on Thursday. If you've got any other questions, leave them below and I'll try and get to as many as possible. I've hopefully covered the main points that people are talking about this week, but there's probably some I've missed. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all your support over this Christmas period where it's very busy. Subscribe if you're new around here, and like I said, drop a comment below on anything I've said, whether I've talked rubbish, whether you agree, what your plans are, what your questions are. And I'll leave it there. Good luck in Game Week 16. I will see you for a stream at 9:30 PM on Thursday this week. So if you're watching this before then, see you tonight. If you're watching it after, you can go back and watch it. And then we'll be almost back to a normal schedule, at least for the next couple of weeks. I'll leave it there. Thanks all.